Hey guys, this is the Screencastify, my first time doing it. I'm kind of going off two computers here. I'm looking right now at the camera, but the camera is not my monitor. My monitor is up here. So I won't really be looking at you, I'll be looking at this. So what you should see on your screen is the week 5 e-learning assignment page. So I kind of want to talk about what this week is going to be, because it's really a model for what the entire next 5 weeks to review is going to be for the AP test. If dogs start barking, they'll see me grab this thing. This gives them a little zap, and then they get quiet because they're very big and very loud, and I'm at the front of my house. So we're going to take each week leading up to the AP test, which for you guys is on May 21st. A week at a time, we get it by unit. So before I click on this review menu, which is going to be the thing you look at often, I just wanted to briefly look at the AP test. This is all available online, and I've linked it for you on the page I'll show you in a second. But our test, again, is on Focus Mouse. 1 o'clock, May 21st, so 1 p.m. The exam is 45 minutes long. It's one question, and they're going to give you 5 minutes to upload your response. So what this means is they know that people across the country are taking this test in different ways. Some people don't have a desktop or a computer, something they can type with, so they're having to do this with their smartphone, which means they're letting them handwrite, take a picture, and upload. You can do that. I'm going to suggest you type since we've been typing all year. But the way the system is going to work is that'll give you 45 minutes to input, answer on page, typing or written. And then the next 5 minutes is just the uploading phase. Okay, and we'll do more of this details when we get closer to it. It's one question, and that one question is your entire score. So it's called a modified DBQ. That's what we've been doing all year, except this time there's only 5 documents, one of which is some kind of non-text base, which we've been doing. And then the rubric has changed to be a 10-point rubric. We haven't really looked at the rubrics the way College Board publishes them for teachers. We've been focusing on that AEC model, which will work perfectly for us, and I'm going to give you those materials soon. What can be tested is just units 1 through 6. So that's the global tapestry through the year 1900. So think of it as this spring of this year, your sophomore year. And then the fall through about January of your freshman year. Okay? Now they say there's a makeup test date, but Briscoe will put out some explanation about what you have to do to qualify for a makeup test. So that's a little bit about the test itself. But when you look at the assignment listing, you're going to be reviewing unit 1 and 2. I like this focus mouse. And our focus each week is either you're trying to improve your content knowledge about the time period or historical thinking skills. Okay? So on this menu that I'll show you in a second, it's going to give you resources, and then it's going to give you 3 columns of tasks, of which you pick one. Okay? So let me show you that menu real quick, and then I'll come down and explain these things. Move my camera, my picture of myself a little bit. Myself skinnier. Maybe not. I guess that's as thin as it'll let me go. All right, so I'll talk to the edge here. So you'll have access to this document. A little bigger for you. Put that up there. So you'll see week 1, which is next week. Technically, the 13th is a holiday for you, so you'll have to log in on Monday. The materials will be available in Google Classroom, and this will be up as well in case you're just bored and want to spend some time. And then everything's going to be due on Sunday, April 19th. And when I say everything, it's really one thing. So So let me show you how this, and kind of explain how this sucker is set up. Once I find my mouse. There it is. So every week we'll have the chronological units that are being tested. We didn't talk a ton about things in terms of AP units in humanities. But basically, when we were looking at the years 1200 to 1450, which was probably for you guys the end of first semester and then most of this semester before spring break. I've got a resource section, and then I've got a weekly choice of activities. So in the resources, I've linked for each time period the textbook chapters from Strayer, the different AMSCO chapters, crash course videos that cover content in this time period, a dude named Heimler, who's another kind of John Green dude. We've watched one of his. He's got the big beard and kind of bald. And then the AP people themselves have something called AP Live, which I'll show you in a little bit. They're putting out weekly or daily, actually, filmed lessons from teachers. So there's video resources. And then I've linked to a web page called Freemanpedia, which takes each of these time periods and kind of graphically displays things. And I'll show you that in a second. Okay? So how do you use these resources? Let me get that thing out of here. Not that anymore. Not the pointer. All right. So let's just go to Freemanpedia, for instance. So Freemanpedia is divided up the same way. He just does his own kind of graphic outline, maps, different kind of graphic organizers that explain what's happening in each region. And you can click on a region specifically to know about what was happening in China in this era, people to know, terms to know, they're linked as well. And then he links videos about the time periods as well. So Freemanpedia could be one way to learn or review the content. These videos will do it as well. Let's go to AP Live for a second so you can just get a sense of what it is. This takes you to the main YouTube page, the menu for the channel. Every one of these numbers is a unit. So Unit 8 is not tested, but what they were doing is they were going ahead and finishing out the class for the rest of the country that might be in school. And then yesterday they started reviewing. So Unit 1 is Global Tapestry, the first one we're going to review. And then he breaks it down into the teacher speak topics. And then there's a 48-minute class taught by these two teachers here. So it's long, but it's actually a class on that topic. And then as we start scrolling down, they'll be doing more and more all the way up to exam day. Okay? So that's what AP Live is as far as the research goes. And just so you can see what this dude looks like, this is the Heimler guy. Okay? Here's his channel where he does things time period by time period as well. Okay? So these are the resources, and you'll see that they go all the way through the end of the year. Everything is linked chronologically to the time periods. Now, just before you get this in your head and think, wait a minute, why is this all the way through the end of the year? I don't know anything. I don't know if we're not coming back to school, but I'm planning as if we might have to stay at home. So the plan is in full. If we come back to school at the end of the month, it says week 4, we'll be in class for these 3 weeks, and we can convert this to be in class if we need to. Okay? So on the choice part, there's 3 types of activities. Test prep is looking at either AP Classroom, these things called progress checks, or the Alberts pilot program that you did the diagnostic in. In each of these, it's the same kind of thing. The stimulus-based multiple choice questions where you get the passage and you get 3 multiple choice about it, but then they also add either a short answer question or a free response question. Free response could be SAQ, could be long essay question, could even be DBQ. Okay? So if you're choosing to do something in test prep, you probably made that choice because you feel confident with the content and you just want to practice the recall or some of the analytical skills of reading a passage and answering a question. Okay? If you'd rather focus on document-based question writing, since the test is a DBQ, each of these weeks or units will have a skills exercise. I'll show you this one. So this one in the time period is practicing with prompts that could appear on an AP test. And the whole exercise for this week is around thesis and contextualization. So what I want you to do is I want you to take the prompt and write the contextualization for it and a thesis. Now you don't have documents, so making your argument with evidence from your brain. And you're not writing an essay, you're just practicing a contextualization, intro, and a thesis statement for these 4 prompts. Okay? So that's if you want to work on skill. What I'll do probably by the Monday of the following week is I'll have a key up for this, and I'll talk about it, probably some feedback on a little screencast like this, so you can go back and compare what you did to what I think it should be. Okay? So this is if you just want to work on DBQ skills. So you see as we go down, we go from just exercises and practice to actually looking at questions. And then by the end of the week, or the review period anyways, my buddies and I who grade these tests across the country, we're creating our own DBQs based on the new rubric with a scoring guide as they would grade it at the exam reading. And we're going to make one that we think will be like what you would see on the test, and a scoring guide that goes with it. And on that week, we'll practice that along with this day of exam planner that I made. Okay? But let's just think about this week. So, skills, you want to work on writing skills, test prep, you think you're good with content, you just want to practice using it. And after a week on the content, if you took that diagnostic test and it wasn't really going well, you're like, I don't remember that, I don't know where China is, hopefully not, then you need to start going backwards and kind of using these resources over here to kind of paint the picture of what's happening in that time period. So this is a Jamboard that you can create. What I want you to do here is an annotated map. You've done Jamboards before, but this is taking that 1200 to 1450 period and illustrating what states, empires are in existence, and putting them on the map, and then annotating with the sticky note feature key information about it. So think of this as like a visual review sheet of the region. Or, if you'd rather see it chronologically, this is a thing in Google called Lucid Chart. Now, when you click on it, it will prompt you to create an account. All you got to do is put your Frisco information in for Google, and you'll have an account. So this is a template. I'm going to try to make it bigger. My face is in the way. Nope, it's not. A template that I've already set up. It has the time period, and then I've just thrown in here milestone stamps. These years don't mean anything. But let's say you were researching and you figured out that in the year 1234 something happened. You just move it over on the scale. These things are like piano keys are the years. And you can write the milestone. This is a text box. You can move over near it. You can annotate stuff about why that is important. This little interval thing, which is the green thing over here on the timeline, this is if you want to put the longevity of a dynasty. When does the dynasty start? When does it end? And you can label it there. Okay? So this timeline exercise, maybe you learn better by looking at things in kind of chronological charts. So this, just like the map, is to try to figure out, I don't know the content, I need to figure out what's going on during that time frame and where it's happening. Again, you could go look at any of these resources here to help you. Like for instance, Wikipedia has maps, so that can help you with location. You know the AMSCO chapters, that will give you things as well. You can watch a crash course video. Okay? So each week of this review, you're deciding on one thing in each column, and only one thing. That's the minimum. Some of you guys have been asking me about grades. I'm giving you completion grades. Okay? This is your review. You paid the $94. If you want to screw around, half-ass it, then you could waste your $94. We're required to make you do something at home, so I'm making a minimum of one thing from each column. But if you're really wanting to make a 5 and get college credit for your 2 years in humanities, you should probably do more than just a little minimum-ish. But everybody's time is different. If you're taking care of 4 kids, you might just have time for the minimum. So pick which of these is the most bang for your buck. So how do you know which one to pick? That diagnostic test that you guys are working on, or will have finished by the time you watch this video, you want to look at where you're weak. If you remember that analysis sheet I gave you, then I should probably show it. If you know that in Unit 1, you missed a ton, and then you want to think back to when you missed those, was it because you just didn't know stuff, or was it reading comprehension? Did you not understand like changes over time? If it's you didn't know stuff, then you need to learn content. If it's you got mixed up by what a passage was saying, that could be skill related. So for each of these units, think about, before you start the week, where were your problems? Not knowing stuff, or not knowing how to apply what you know to the way the question is being asked. And that's kind of what I talk about here in the weekly thing, the process of figuring out what your weaknesses are. If it's lack of knowledge, you want to do the mind map or timeline task. If it's skill-based, reading passages, analyzing documents, thinking about things historically, the context around it, connections between empires, comparing them, what causes things, what changes or stays the same. This is more skill-based prep. And that's where you want to choose some questions from the Albert assignment or the AP Classroom assignment or the DB Skills column. Okay? You have to do a minimum of one of those tasks a week. If you want to do more than that, you're going to go over the weekly minute restriction that we're supposed to tell you don't have to do. You don't have to do it. You'll still get 100 for that week if you do one of those things. But if you want to go above and beyond to increase your chances of doing well on a test, you can. That's based on your time. Okay? What I'll do by Wednesday of each week as well is I'll post a video online. What I looked at as a group, as a class, what your weaknesses are, then I'll put some videos up there of me kind of teaching some of those harder to understand points in the time period. Okay, and those videos should be up by Wednesday of each week. Everything except for AP Classroom stuff will be in the AP Exam Review on Google Classroom. They'll say choice, meaning you don't have to do all of them. Just refer back to, it tells you here to pick one. But all of them have to appear in Classroom in case you choose to do one or the other. So some of you are very OCD. And if you see 4 assignments in there, you won't look at the word choice. You'll think, oh my God, I got to do all of them. And you'll stop doing math and blah, 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 and you'll start failing things. You're choosing what you do. You have to do one thing. You can do more. Okay? So this goes week by week. Every week, I'll post a video going over the skills practice. So this one for the week coming up. On April 20th, there'll be a video by the afternoon that goes over what these were. By Wednesday of the week, I'll have my own teaching moment talking about weaknesses in content knowledge for the time period of the week. So on Wednesday, April 15th, there'll be a video that talks about weak content knowledge areas for these 2 units. Then by April 22nd, There'll be a content video from me about this time period. At home, besides just waiting for my videos, you're weekly working on something from these columns. Okay, and it goes all the way through the end. So I'll have to put this up because that's the Frisco format. They want us to show you something that looks the same for every class. But think of this as just an introductory explanation of this again. And everything except for AP Classroom test prep choices will be in Google Classroom. Okay. AP Classroom, some of you have never gone there before because we didn't really emphasize it a lot. So let me show you that real quick. If you go to myap.collegeboard.org login, you're going to log yourself in. I'll log myself in. It's not going to look the same for you, obviously, because this is the teacher view. I'm your student view. Back to that. Viewing the sample screen. So you'll see these things called progress checks. So you'll see stuff popping up Monday morning, if not already. That'll say Unit 1 progress check. They're open, you click on them and you do them. Okay? That's what AP Classroom is. So if you have questions about the week to come, first you want to reference this page like you've been doing. Click on this. This will get you to the menu. And the menu link takes you to text, videos, web-based resources, instructions about where to find test prep stuff, links directly to the skills practice, links directly to the Jamboard or Elucid time template. And again, they're also assigned here. So if you're doing a timeline, you want to click on this so you can submit it. Okay? All right, I think I've talked to you enough. Now I've got to figure out how to turn this video off. Down there. All right. Happy hunting.